The 5D person, whether mystic or not, seeks through the great mysteries of life with the knowledge and wisdom of the body, heart, and mind in harmony. So that's the frequency of love. We don't need to heal our child parts. We have them healed and or in the peripheral view. So you know how to watch your words and your thoughts and your emotions and be independent, and so be in the now. So you're able to put into practice mindfulness, mindset, and mindset skills. Self-regulate. Self-regulate is the prefrontal cortex staying online. If, on the other hand, there's still a window of tolerance that needs expansion, you accompany mindfulness with good therapy and continue your inner child healing journey. The 5D collective, we are unconditionally loving because we're forgiving. So you are a group of people, if you are healing, that is able to forgive the unresolved trauma, whether it's household, whether it's humanity. You don't lead with, I don't want that. Okay. And remember that for the people who don't want to forgive, there's a great childhood trauma therapist. His name is Patrick Tiahan. He's a survivor, healed in healing. He has a lot of different memes on his community. And one of them is, we don't need to forgive anyone. Why are all these people talking about forgiveness? Before any forgiveness happens, first, will to heal, grief and pain, empowering and justice. And maybe, he says, if we want, we'll forgive what happened to us. So that's where you'll find those who are still healing, the ones who are ready to be with the now. Okay, so we're playful and we're independent, and our words are those that don't involve the rigid mind of an adaptive child. We know that this and that are true. We're with our solo self and narrative and relational and core self, no shame. So you say, this is me, human being, use your name. I will tend to the small things, which are the emotions that come up and the thoughts. They're not irrefutable facts. The bigger picture is that I share a life of meaning and connection beyond the solo self. That's true spirituality living and mindfulness living and loving. And you can see clearly because you're using, again, the prefrontal cortex with integration of the brain. So in between is easy because, again, you have a default mode network that's not scanning yourself and others. You know how to self-regulate in the moment. And in the moment, therefore, you are curious, open, accepting, and loving. So you're playful with your words. You're playful with the time. You are co-creating with spirit. And if you're a channeler, if you are a medium, you know how to stay within the open-heartedness, and the communicative effort of you doesn't change. You're also a somatic empath. So inner child adults are functional adults who navigate life from the restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, and regulating person. Pacha, presented to Cusco. You don't waver. You are standing in the ventral vagal nervous system. And as you do that, the person, if they want, they can attune and resonate and trust. So you're present with the social engagement system because you're using your mind wisely and you're able to be yourself freely. And so your body is safe. And so you don't lose people on your journey. In fact, you don't lose people ever, not with the twin flame, flames, soulmates, none of that, which you hear from the ones who don't seek with curiosity and open mind, heart, body. They seek with fear and closed mind, heart, body. So the 3D, 4D frequencies, and those who are adaptive child patterns of behaviors or maladaptive child patterns of behaviors, it's, I have a broken heart, human suffering, love narrative, and so whenever I'm channeling and or communicating, I have suffering frequency in the forefront. With that, those of us, again, here, when questions, unknowns, uncertainties arise, what happens? Well, we have this beautiful frequency of flow. So I'm going to read to you how I was able to embody what it is like, because every day I get to live this blissfulness, this awe, this ability to have the whole 3-year-old heart. So with that, what mindful self-awareness, accountability, and regulation skills are fun to implement when unknowns hit you is that your gut tells you what's the truth, and it's a soft gut. It's a soft intuitive hit. If it's a big one, then you sit and you think with it because you know that that's personal. So it's like, okay, now I want to calm down and get into my ventral vagal. Let me sit with me for a little bit before I take any kind of action. And the good gut leads you to be present in the moment. And as you look through those thoughts and emotions that are rising, you will get to have the expansion of thought. The expansion of thought comes with the processing of sadness, anger, happiness. There's, wait a minute, surprise, fear, and disgust. Okay, so those are those 6 basic human emotions. I'll just use those. So when you're in mindful mind, you're present because you're using prefrontal cortex and your body's in a physiological state of compassion. And so the thoughts are soft. Again, emotions are thoughts. The emotions are soft. The thoughts are soft. And you are aware of who you are because you have claimed your core self and your soul self. Your narrative is use your name. You know what year it is. So you're staying grounded in this moment. And I'm evaluating a unknown that just took place. It's not boring. As I said, it's exhilarating because the vibe that is in your entirety is with an open heart and open mind and flowing. So you have passion and intellect all together as you're an integrated brain, and you're dealing with anything from a restorative embodiment because you recalibrate if it's no physical threat. You're like, okay, I'm just dealing with life right now. And as that happens, you have your masculine. Divine masculine is what I call the mind. Divine feminine is what I call the body and heart. And then masculine's the left because it's the chit chatter of our brain. So it doesn't bring up the emotions, it brings up the thoughts. But since you're leading with emotions first and you're aware of this as a human being who's mindfully aware, again, you're going to say, okay, what's up, emotion? What's up, gut? Like I said, the gut is what gives you the punch. It's a soft one. If it's a tough one, means you know already I might want to sit down. That's after having practiced equanimity. So this is the physical mastery. Because if you're a feminine, you'll know this. If you're a mystic feminine, we get to, I'm an Akashic record reader though, so that might be why there are masculines who are Akashic record readers. They have a different journey. So I can only give you my subjective experience. I'm a feminine of my oversoul, and as a feminine, I'm a nurturer. So my gut, I always tune into it, and if I have any questions, I sit with it, and then I wait until I'm ready. And if it's a strong punch, like I said, it's very clear to me that it's something important to the person, not a nudge from the universe. If it's soft, it's a nudge, and you learn how to pay attention to those nudges, and it's really fun. So you are leading with this passion and intellect, and your masculine and feminine are on board. So your energy bodies, because you and I both have the same, and then you know your counterparts when you meet them. And as a feminine, you'll always know how much the masculine can become. You can see the complete, you can see their complete expression. That's only if they take their feminine, not me. They have to welcome emotions. So that means their gut, but that means with their self, that means with the core, that means with, again, open heart. So not the human suffering love narrative. The human suffering love narrative frequency is for masculines and feminines that stay distorted in their communication, broken heart, broken communication, because they're leading with the exaggerated pain element. Some lead with that exaggerated love, positive element, which is what sometimes I can sound like, but for what I'm trying to bring to you is that you're in equanimous. The equanimous stance is what people don't understand what it's like because of too many, at least that I have seen online, people not describing to you what this feels like when you're embodying equanimity in a restorative self. You feel empowered and you grow this bliss, this awe, this enriching here. It's like, wow. So as you expand as a feminine, you're going to know this, which is why your masculines, independently twin flame or not, you're going to be like, this is awesome. I don't know what's going to come, but I know whatever comes my way is amazing. And if you didn't match my frequency, I'll get over it because we didn't match. So you look to the past, and when you're an empowered feminine, you're not like, oh my God, anytime there's not a match, you will deal with what comes up with the wisdom of this. So unknowns, unexpecteds, unwanted, and you will deal with them with yourself primarily, And then you will also learn to share them with the other intelligent and intelligence 5D vibing frequency individuals in your life. And that's because it's only when they're curious, open, accepting, and loving, and they're an expanding, infinite, higher human conscious potential, the people talking about. So it's when you meet unconditionally loving human beings. They know how to consistently be on. If they don't, then they are the broken lines of communication. So they will not be expanding with you, and you will not be sharing with them because they're not expanding. It's like getting dumbed down, but you're not dumbed down. It's that they're affecting the flow frequency with their not flow frequency, and you're going to be like, this is off. They're not resonating with your own guitar string because we each have a vibe. So I'm vibing at unconditional love. My nervous system is in my ventral vagal state. I am handling something with the lightness of heart, with the open heartedness. You have a broken heart. You're sad. You're upset. You think that this is equal to suffering. And you bring in your story and your vibe. And now you've tainted everything that I'm looking from a whole different state of consciousness and flow. And I'm just like, no, that's not what I was saying, but I can't say anything now because it'll look like I'm trying to tell you that it's happened. So I'm just saying you learn how not to share with those who are not 5D frequency because they're going to bring in the 4D frequency, 3D frequency, and those stories of shame, blame, fault, revenge, envy, spite, low energy, low self-esteem. So it's tainting it like a movie of Mean Girls, Hangover. It's all Cusco. It's a squirrel from Cusco town, and you got a quote unquote shit show going on. You didn't have any of that. You were thinking, rainbow sunshines and flowers, and really not anything, I should say. So when you're expanding, you're knowing as a feminine, I know some things, I don't know all things. I'm going to leave myself to know what I know and let me sit in what is darkness, and it's okay. So that's why it's really fun. When you are feminine, you're only going to know fun. At least this feminine can share with you. The emotions, again, we're not like, oh my God, I had sadness come into the picture. It's more like, yes, I have emotions. I'm alive. You learn how to make the most always. That's the connection that you don't lose. So feminine gets to heal the broken heart and stay online with communication. And that's where I remember making the choices as I got older. And it was never hard. I was like, okay, do I want to get me to experience love or not love? Yes, I want love. Okay, so open heart. Yes, yes. So we're cool with starting something new because those masculines who do open their heart, they will match our frequency. And yay, and that's the fun part. Okay, so we lead with passion and intellect as one, and that is invigorating as a blend and has our masculine and feminine harmonized, which allows us to make contemplative experience a thrilling inner experience in your day-to-day. So you're like, I want to spend some more time in my brain, but you also want to spend it with those others. In fact, it's not alone. We're good with alone time, but we enjoy when we get to meet the other who doesn't have humbug, no humbug attitude. So 3D, 4D, they have humbug. Okay, we don't lose our sense of self. They don't lose their sense of self. They don't bring to us all those closed-minded things. They explore, so beyond the concepts of yesterday. And then we have an exhilarating interaction. Intelligence and intellect. It's really fun. So yes, with the 5D vibing individual, we know you have one life to live with this human name that you got given, who wants to a whole new world, a magic place, but we're not on a carpet. We're actually people who get to do things together tangibly. So live it well now, not tomorrow. You can come on over here and experience this lovely spiritual and or mindful living and loving way. It's the 5D self-empowered enlightened way here at IHP. So we tap into our infinite higher human conscious potential experiences. You don't need the therapist. You either have one, and so you know in maximum uncertainty what takes place, and we work together with them. Okay, this is very important as a responsible human being. You will turn knowledge into wisdom when you're able to sit in the depths of your emotional and mental plane and trust the unknown, mystery. Until you feel like the Zen master that it's laundry, then you want therapy alongside your spiritual stuff, because laundry means that you still have what is called a window of tolerance, and it's not good or bad. It's responsibility towards your solo self. And that's why it's not toxic positivity, it's not toxic negativity. It's called equanimity. A restorative embodied individual can tell you all about it, like I do, because my prefrontal cortex is why I always look at things from curiosity, even when I get my lovely, not so lovely panic attacks. I'm just saying. So, at the end of the day, for a 5D mystic, enlightenment feminine, we're not taken off track by anyone. In fact, it's very humorous when I see how they've taken the oversoul experience and made it into what is not even something cute. So we're going to close on out with this one. I always know that life doesn't abandon Maria. So we're, again, closing off with this from my 44 years of life. I've known it. And I'll never forget the first time I learned about a couple of things. The first time, well, in this lifetime. So I remember learning one, the grown-ups are wrong. You do love more than one person, and you love more all the time, not just sometimes, but it's not the love thing. It's the bond that you create. So love is a constant, which is why they lied about you can only love one person. And so this is where the polyamory community knows what I'm talking about. Then the bond, it can only be a match if you're intelligent, and that means you are a happy, playful person. Otherwise, you're not going to be intelligent because you're not going to be a 5D frequency. You're going to be a bummer. You're not going to know how to do this. If no matter what is given to you, you can make something beautiful out of it, that is intelligence. So intelligence is where you can use left and right. That's why I keep trying to ensure you understand it's a thing to be blissful in here. It's not wine. No, it's more than that. Once you experience boundlessness, the possibilities in your life also become boundless. It is invigorating. It's energizing. It's the most awesome love affair you're going to ever have, which is something you'll know as a feminine, that I am experiencing 24 hours, and I'm mortal, meaning I could die right now, tomorrow. I know this without the tragedy part. I'm consciously embodying awareness of this as a person who's coming to, again, as a mystic. I'm a mystic who's intuitive, who's also faith. I've been gifted the gift of life. But I don't need to know what comes when I'm dead, because I know actively as a grounded human being with a brain, I don't. Okay, so having this and that for an enlightenment soul age person is what I'm sharing with you as a mystic. Oh, by the way, true scientists, they know 97% of what is out there is unavailable. So anybody who's grounded in intelligence, man, woman, they be, they're embodying this too. It's called the flow state. And I'm describing it to you so that you can understand why you want to go on this journey to seek outside of yourself with curiosity and open mind, heart, body, and not fear and closed mind. But if you're fear, people don't think of it as fear. Anyone who thinks that humanity sucks, that's called fear, and it's called a trust break. That we have shit going on, yes, and we all use words. What I'm saying is if you say, humans, So when you meet people who embody this suffering stuff and they don't get out of it, they just harp the horn, it's not intelligence. They act like they're buffoons and badass, and none of it is. So as you get older, you figure these things out. I do. 44. I figured out all of what I figured out thanks to all of the people that showed me what it means for them to keep choosing to have a broken heart and a broken communication with that which is, simply put, human secondary consciousness. So like I was saying, I am a faith, but I am also a grounded in logic human being. And so I learned from Marcus Aurelius how not to worry about this darkness stuff. And then I continued making the best out of every day because I got gifted this life from God. And I wanted to respect that as I got catechism and I got taught that you've been given a gift. Then I got to be explained by masculines how suffering works and how some people don't want to live any life. So they made me very well aware, you're good with it. Some of us are tortured. And then it became this thing of where you can't be happy. You must be pretending. So you get to put up with people who talk about toxic positive when they see somebody who's happy. It's not even funny how many ways I can make fun with this on my own because of meeting not 5D frequency. And this isn't a word that I want to be using, but essentially I'm going to as we organize our community so you can understand. Don't come around if you don't want to love. You can have a Zen master with laundry. There's bountiful of people who want to vibe at that frequency. I don't, and I haven't. and I've chosen. It's very easy. Again, I am grounded in reality. I have 2 seconds, maybe. I don't know. How much more seconds are you going to stick around? When you're mindful, this is what it means. So it means you're not wasting time. You're not wasting it in your brain thinking about a human being and or more who doesn't have the capacity to make what I'm going to say is a intellectually smart and emotionally aware, so let me pause as I remember and remind myself there's a lot of people who need good therapy and they don't want it. So when you don't have an open heart, you know what it means? It means you're going to be selfish. But I can be considered selfish too because I'm going to use your time to talk to you. That means that I'm taking from you. I know how to ensure that I maintain a specific balance called mutual respect, mutual understanding, without involving you in the process. And so, what I was trying to close on out with is that the frequency and matching, it's only when you have intelligence and intelligent men and women, they're emotionally involved and and that's full blown love. They want to harp a horn on suffering, they're doing something different. I've seen it. It's not an interesting energy, and it's something obvious to the ones who are wanting to live with open hearts. As I said, wanting. That means that when it gets broken, you don't say, "Oh, I got broken. Somebody broke my heart. They're awful. Life broke my heart." I was a teenager, like, it's a muscle. It can't break. Oh, look at that. It's it's really not breakable. You'd have to take it out of my chest. So, long story short, that's how it works when you are curious, open minded, and you have, in this case, a brain that says, yeah, it is impersonal. You're right. I can wield this however I want. So, your heart, you choose to keep it open or closed. Anybody never notice how you can do that? I've asked people, if you're closing it. So, when people choose the sob story of they broke my heart, they betrayed me, all people sucked, those are called trust breaks. You don't have to have not secure attachment. You just have to have one person lie to you, and now you're on the bandwagon of, I trust people all the time. Yeah, I do this all the time for someone, da 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 da. And, that gets really old. I was a teenager, and I'm like, you're sounding more and more like you think you're doing something special. We are all doing something special. But there's also knowing when some people are not participating in your life because they are wanting to share with you. And again, you don't compare because when you know what it means for a heart to be broken, you'll know why somebody will become distrusting, mistrusting, and all of that. So you're not going to say, oh, I think they should give. You're always going to be able to look outside the box because an open heart means that I'm not giving to you anything special. I have chosen to be consistently in a state that I can maintain because this body and the heart and the mind, who does it serve? Thanks, Sadhguru, it serves this life. My name's Maria. It's a self. I don't need it to be a belief system. I can make it into conversation, and that's the most amazing of journeys. Zen Master, if you learn about the human secondary consciousness and you put it into practice, you might get here at some point. It's a choice to feel the depth of feelings, and it's also a choice to know that, of course, things can take us by surprise. But the reality is, once you're familiar with thoughts and emotions in a friendly way and a fun way, as long as there's no physical threat, you're good. You're good to go because it's called I'm interacting with another person. And if you're physically mastered in who you are, you're not going to be affected by the other people in the room. I still, to this day, know that I can recalibrate depending on the circumstances, but I've put myself and try to get myself out in little situations with crowds, but always carefully because, again, it is uncomfortable if you're out to all of a sudden get destabilized by those panic attacks. It's not, so it's one thing if you have, like I have been sharing with you, masculines or feminines that are 5D vibing, because at that point they know how to support you effectively immediately. If they're not there, then it's not going to be helpful. I'm going to be going through that. Then I'm going to have another person who's going to try to help me. They're not helping me because I'm actually going to be calibrating their nervous system while trying to calibrate mine. And so it's one of those very, again, little things that those of us who do want to be out and we understand how our body works, we are supportive of having people, masculines and feminines, that vibe because that's how we know it will be better. So what I'm saying is we are always wanting life with others, The solo poli doesn't do solo because we're alone. Just FYI. And any person isn't going to want to do solo if you're a healthy self worth person. But you're going to want to be with the people who vibe. So intelligence vibes with intelligence because that's the social engagement nervous system. If you have a person who doesn't know how to regulate their nervous system and they're in the human suffering love, you're going to notice it. You're going to be recalibrating to support them and not the other way around. And so, again, it creates a situation that those who don't have the panic attacks, they don't understand one, they think you're making a big deal. Two, they really don't know the effort that it takes for somebody to work through it, which is not something you're going to try explaining to them. And so, any one of you who, by the way, has any of this, Nutshell Lady, she's really good. She gives you good ideas on how to work with yourself, just so you know. But you are the number one person that can be expanding your window tolerance. And some people complain on Nutshell's Lady website and say, you mean that I have to put up with it? That you're expanding a window of tolerance. And if it's the freeze response and charges, then that's coming up. It could be a primal attachment panic. That can happen too. Your nervous system has various number of reasons why you would be getting a panic attack. Also, there's a difference between panic and anxiety. Then there's the energy body expanding. So I know my energy body expanded, and there's a course that I have that I want to finish up that tells if you're 4'9", you can only contain so much energy. Your body's going to have to expand it. So there's that, and then we're holding on to energy in places depending on how you breathe. Okay, so there's a lot that goes into you being you, and if you're feminine and a mystic, you're going to care about keeping on expanding. Like my mystic masculine friend knows, and any actual mystic masculine will know, the feminine is a nurturer by nature. We will not be ever backing off from it. There's no way in hell. You're going to try and pull me away. But these are figures of speech. So what I'm saying is an empowered masculine is going to understand, if they're a mystic, what the empowered feminine is here and how she works, and vice versa. So that's why they make a pair and they complement, because the masculine, they are good at spotting. They're good at spotting how the mind works and the mischievous ways of the mind, because we don't look at the mind. Our gut, again, it's a very soft thing, and then it's instinctive, and we'll go blindly in, and sometimes it's okay, and sometimes it's not, and that is also why we're not here as a solo with the, again, the outside world. There's two is better than one, because two is four set of eyes, and so on and so forth. But complementary. When you understand complementary, again, you're not going to say one is better than the other, because you actively know that we all have weaknesses and strengths, and you complement each other, because I will have strengths, they will be your weaknesses. You will have strengths, they will be my weaknesses, and if we are a true pair, we're going to help us to see better. My empowered masculines, mystics and not, I grow intelligence thanks to them. And this is one of the most exhilarating things as a feminine that I can share, is that when I get to expand my intellect and be able to fly me to the moon. Yeah, so the song that came through, by the way, we were going to have a bit of a channeled guidance after, The Way You Look Tonight. So masculines, when they're embodying their masculine nature and their intelligence, it's a pair. It's a match made in heaven, and you'll know it when you'll know it. So, long story short, seeking outside of oneself with curiosity and open-mindedness and open hearts and the open body. It means restored embodiment self. You're aware, accountable, regulating, and thanks to whether you're spiritual and or mindful, you get to embody this thing called life, make the best out of it today, and then as safe haven, secure bases, we get to support others who want to also have a life with functional adults, inner child adults. It's called playfulness for a reason. And actually, let me use our lovely Sadhguru, because he has a fun little quote. Playfulness is the nature of creation and the creator. If you are in tune with them, you are naturally playful. That's the 5D frequency. So hanging around people that are human love narrative, when we're around the human suffering, we're not going to be like, no, get away. No, but we have the potential to experience boundlessness. So the possibilities in our life, they become boundless. That's Sadhguru again. They are not wanting to break away from self-created boundaries. And they remain trapped in them. Those are the karma wheels, and those are the 3D, 4D. And those are also the adaptive child patterns of behaviors: rigid, harsh, unforgiving. They don't move beyond belief systems and they think that it's wrong and stuff like that, or maladaptive child patterns of behavior. So, again, there's ways for that to be healed. In the meantime, we're not going to be telling them what to do, we're going to be talking to them. So we turn our own selves into knowledge and wisdom. And when we're with people, we can match, we can recalibrate. And that's why the 5D harmonizes. Doesn't mean you put up with things. In fact, you have healthy boundaries. So if you don't want to engage in a relationship, you will know how to say, I'm not going to become your friend. And you know how not to change your mind. Raise your hand. Doesn't mean other people are going to say, oh, that's so polite of you. No, they're going to actively say other things. And you're going to say, yeah, well, it is what it is, I guess. I must be picky, huh? Yeah, I've been told that before. I don't want to be picky, but I am selective. And, I don't find it wrong because I have 24 hours. I don't want to be around people that don't know how to vibe on a high because, they're dragging their feet. And I got one life to live as Maria, and let's make the best of it with the people who have one life to live. Use your human name, so come on over. We don't lose people. It's a sad story, the ones who lose them, but that's for another episode. In the meantime, the eclipse energies are really starting to make themselves known, so let us make our dreams a reality. Let's come together. And thank you again for stopping by. Like, share, and subscribe. If you know anybody who enjoys this type of chit chat and mindfulness living and spirituality living with the 5D Mystic crew, send them on over. It'll be a pleasure to have you all here again. Thank you so much.